Hello guys, the Food Dude here, welcome back to the show. I know it's been long, it's been too long, but I'm finally back. Thank you for all your mails and comments telling me that I should keep going with the videos, it's really rewarding. And yeah, I missed you guys. So anyway, for your patience, I'm gonna reward you with a treat. I'm gonna start making a series of videos about superfoods. And today, I'll go straight to business with this one. It's raw, organic honey. None other than honey. I'm sure we all have eaten honey at some point in our life. Some people like it, some others don't. But I'm pretty sure most people is not eating the right kind of honey. And we're missing out because it has a lot of properties that you might not know about. So let's get started. So honey is as old as history itself. There's records of honey usage by humans that are probably 10,000 years old. They found some cave paintings in Spain that are from 8000 BC. So that's amazing. But that comes to tell you that humans have been eating honey, they have bathed in honey, they have traded with it, they have used as money, as a currency, and they also used as medicine to dress wounds, to take it internally, etc. And then, for example, the Egyptians, they were really big users of honey. They were probably the first big civilization to domesticate the honeybee. And recently there are some archaeologists who found honey buried with the pharaohs, which is still edible. And this is amazing because it tells you how long-lasting honey is. If you store honey properly, it will last for at least centuries. And this is one of the reasons honey has been really flexible and versatile. It was used as well a lot in the battlefield. For example, the Romans, they brought the honey to the battlefield and the soldiers would eat it because it would give them a lot of energy. And then they would use honey to dress their wounds after the battle. And there's the story of Hannibal the Great, a great warrior who crossed the Alps with his troops to go and fight the Romans. And he gave honey and vinegar to his troops and they made it across. Yeah, and they used as well to dress wounds and to take it internally for infections and stuff like that. And they also say Cleopatra, one of her beauty secrets was honey as well. And then in the medieval times, since probably especially the 10th century and onwards, the royalty would eat honey as a royalty food. And then it started, getting widespread, and they started combining it with wine to produce meat, for example, which is still made today, and many other things. But to be fair, I have to give credit to the honeybee before I go any further. The honeybee is such an amazing and underrated insect, and many people just dismiss it or don't even pay attention to it because, well, I don't know, they're afraid of it or they just don't probably know how important they are to the ecosystem. Humans and many other animals, we depend on the honeybee, and not because of the honey, but because of the pollination. Albert Einstein knew this, and he once said that if the bee disappeared off the surface of the globe, then man would have only 4 years of life left. No more bees, no more pollination, no more plants, no more animals, no more men. And this is because all the fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, legumes that we eat, all of them are heavily related to the pollination of plants. Literally every one of 3 mouthfuls of food that you eat is directly related to the pollination service that we get for free from the bees. So when the honeybee is flying from one flower to the next one, she's not only collecting the nectar to make the honey, but she's also carrying tiny grains of pollen from the anther of a flower, and she puts it in the stigma of another. And this is how flowers reproduce. So without this pollination process, plants won't be able to survive. So pollination is actually a way more valuable service that we get for free from the bees than is honey. Now, the honeybee is a social insect. They are busy all their short and hard working life. They live for 6 weeks in average. The worker bees are probably 90% of the hive, and they're all females. And this is why I keep referring as she, as her in the whole video. The remaining 3% are male, and they can't fly. They're not able to leave the hive, so they have to be fed by the worker female bees, which is pretty cool. And then on top of that, the male's only function is to mate with the queen, and then the queen in turn is just gonna spend all her life inside the hive laying eggs, and she can lay up to 2 million eggs in her lifetime. And when she gets too old, she's just replaced by a younger queen. And the worker honeybee has many other activities other than collecting the nectar. From the moment she's born, she has to start nursing other younger bees. And then she has to go on other activities such as guarding the entrance of the colony, building honeycomb, ripening nectar to honey, picking pollen, cleaning the hive, carrying out the dead, and of course scouting and bringing nectar to the hive, which is the most dangerous activity they perform, because this is when they get, eaten by birds or by spiders, or they just die in the line of action. Bees will fly for up to 5 kilometers away from the hive, and they always return to the same hive. They never get confused or lost. And the amazing thing is that when they find new source of flowers, of nectar, they go back to the hive and they have to let the other bees know where it was, so they can go with her. So the first thing she does is she gives the nectar to other bees around her so they can assess the quality. And then she starts dancing in front of them. And it's with this dancing, called the waggle dance, that the bees start telling the other bees that she found such and such nectar in such and such place at such and such direction from the hive with respect to the sun. It's really amazing. Like literally in this dance she's telling them, go right 100 meters and turn left 50 meters. And after this, all the bees will follow her to that right place, and they never get confused, and they have a really remarkable sense of direction. Amazing, isn't it? Well, now that I've given credit to the bees, I'm going to talk about the honey. What is honey anyway? Honey is a saturated solution of sugar that is made inside the bee. When a bee collects the nectar, then it mixes with the saliva of the bee, and it has a lot of enzymes. So this starts a complex chemical reaction that it yields honey at the end. So what is really important to understand here is that the honey that you see in the supermarket, most of it at least, is not raw organic honey. It's commercialized, processed, pasteurized, heated up, strained honey that is void of enzymes and most of the nutrients. So if you're going to eat honey, I really strongly suggest you to get raw organic honey. Okay? And you can get in any color. As I said, the color and the flavor and the texture would depend on the kind of bee and the kind of flower. There's white, there's amber, there's like some red-brown ones, there's almost black ones, and they're all great as long as they're raw organic. That's the only thing you have to keep an eye for. So how can you tell if you're actually getting raw honey or not? Well, for one, it should be properly labeled as such. Any real company that provides raw honey will label their products properly. And the next thing is that you should actually be able to tell if it's raw or not by just looking at it, especially if you taste it. Raw honey is not gonna be as pretty looking as the one you find that is being commercially processed. They process it so it's easier to sell, so it's better looking at the cost of all the nutritional value of it. It doesn't matter. Raw honey, it doesn't matter if it has a little bigger crystals, if it has like particles of pollen, a little particle of beeswax and stuff like that. That's normal, that's natural, and that's the way you should be eating it, because it means that it's really rich in enzymes and all the nutrients that makes honey such a wonderful thing. So what is honey good for anyway? Well, studies have found that raw honey, including the Manuka honey from New Zealand, has the ability to kill bacteria and heal wounds because it's very acidic. And honey also has an antibacterial molecule called hydrogen peroxide, which can be used as a disinfectant, but that is really fragile to heat. So any boiled or pasteurized honey is not going to have this molecule anymore. Over the last few decades, antibiotics have been significantly overprescribed by doctors. And in addition, bacteria has the ability to mutate and become resistant to all the elements that are trying to destroy it, such as antibiotics. But what they're now realizing is that the honey has really strong antibacterial and antimicrobial properties, and today there are no bacteria, or so far we haven't found any bacteria that shows any kind of resistance to it. And this is because honey has a very different way to kill bacteria than antibiotics. Honey kills bacteria by drawing water from the inside of the cell of the bacteria, and this makes it impossible for the bacteria to survive. As a result, wound resin containing honey have been successful in the treatment of life-threatening conditions or infection that involve hard-to-kill bacteria such as MRSA and VRE, which are antibiotic-resistant strains of bacteria. So in short, raw honey is a natural antiseptic, anti-inflammatory, antiviral, antifungal, antimicrobial, antibacterial, antioxidant as well, and for this reason it's really effective in the treatment of many symptoms such as conditions such as psoriasis, arthritis, eczema, wounds, burns, insect bites. It's also effective in the treatment of ringworm and athlete's foot. It also gets rid of the malodor and even wrinkles and acne and stuff like that. So many good things that you are going to find in raw organic honey next time you go to not to the supermarket, but go to the farmer's market or go to the health food store. I'm sure you'll find it there. Anyway guys, this is so, did I mention it's delicious as well? Because it is. Okay, and for these many reasons, of course the raw honey is gonna get my seal of approval. That's all for today guys, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, don't forget to mail me at thefooddude@live.com, and you can also go to my website, lifematters.ws. There's my Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff, so you know where to find me. Anyway guys, have a good day, stick around, I have a superfood video next time as well, so don't miss it. This is lifematters.ws, my name is Carlos Salazar, have a good day, bye bye.